One long dive then, yeah? Okay. Yeah! Welcome back to another dive. I'm JP Fallais and we're looking for chunks of the Beauport. So this is a shipwreck, but it's been ripped into loads of pieces and dumped into fairly deepish water. I love it when you can see it from far away, just see the silhouette. Let's go over and take a little look. Just find this last scallop I've just seen. Somewhere around here. I think this little fish here is called a painted goby. Yeah, I think it is. I can see little dots on its dorsal fin. Anyway, I think I've lost that scallop. But let's go and have a look at this. No, I think I've seen it. Yeah, there it is. Found it. Ah. So your guess is probably as good as mine. I'm not quite sure what part of the shipwreck this is. I think this is maybe the underside of a deck, given the shape of the structural supports on the back. Looks like there's a spine support and then loads of smaller ones coming out from it. Like I say, this is all completely smashed up. Not quite sure what's what. It does actually surprise me at the time in the 30s when they were salvaging this thing, that they just dumped it back in the sea. Surely it would have been better to land this on a beach somewhere and then get it scrapped. But anyway, there might be other circumstances that I don't know about. Potentially they didn't know the owner. Maybe they ripped it apart and just got rid of the evidence and been done with it. So let's have a little look at this. There's loads of these lumps heading down from Castle Corner down towards Fermain. I think in this dive we're going to see two of the largest lumps. They even had to move one, I believe, when they're putting the new electricity cable in. It weaves through the shipwreck parts. So these plates here, they're really good home for lobsters and some congers. So I always do the same thing. I start off at the bottom when I'm looking at stuff and try and have a look under some of the plates. Normally if you don't do that and you kick up a bit of dust, they disappear right back into the hole so you can't see them. So let's take a look under these plates first. Definitely some fish under there, and a sea urchin, edible sea urchin. There's also some old tyres that are kicking around as well, which I know are no good. Oh, that wasn't a sea urchin. I don't know what that was. A lump of something. Issue is the tide is now heading north, and as you can see from my dust cloud, I'm starting to get covered in dust. Trying to kick back against the tide, and I'm not doing a very good job stirring it up. So let's wait here a few seconds and let that pass. You can see how fast the tide is. We'll take a swim over the top of this, try and figure out what it is. This time of year everything seems to be covered in spider crabs. So we've got a token spider crabs here. Just seen a female cuckoo wrasse, light brown with a couple of dots on the back of the tail. This looks like some sort of RSJ. Not sure if it's bolted to anything or just sitting on top. And this on the outside could be a rod rail of some sort. But then again, I am just guessing. These structures cause or create a lot of substrate for stuff to grow on. Now this looks like some sort of pulley wheel. Yeah, it looks like a sheave in the middle of that, so that could have been something to do with the rope. Is it for below deck for loading stuff in, or is it for above the deck? And this thing here looks like a skin fitting. Let's take a look underneath, see if we can see anything underneath. This is some sort of beam or structure support. There's quite a bit of sea life on it. The underside, as expected, there's jewel anemones, purple jewel anemones, and some yellows. Loads of different types of sponges. They're not growing in direct sunlight, so you tend to get them underneath edges and ledges. And there's some bib under there as well, or as we call them locally, pelt. And again, just loads of crabs in between. Another half a tyre. Don't know if that's part of the shipwreck or that was stuff that's been thrown on afterwards. So let's try and figure out which way we're going. So we're heading sort of north-northwest at the moment. I want to be heading kind of a little bit more north. So we'll basically had a look at this chunk and we'll carry on. What it is nice to do is actually have a little bit of a scallop in between these as well. Again, another big chunk, I'm not quite sure what that is. Well and truly twisted. You can see they use dynamite to rip it apart, and large grabs, hawser pipes, large cables. Is this a large cable? One of the cables maybe they tied around it? There's an eyelet on the end. Let's have a little check. No, that eyelet's got some hose pipe around it. That's a lot younger. That's probably someone's mooring line that they've towed out the harbour and just dumped. So you can see the tide is actually pulling pretty strong to the north now, as you can see that weed. So we're just going to have a little bimble around and then try and find that second chunk. Yeah, there's scallops. That's good. Like I always say, it's nice to see smalls and large. That means we've got something to catch in a couple of years' time. So have you noticed I've just gone around in a full circle there? I was going against the tide, trying to keep my ground. I didn't want to swim too far. Because we're going north, we're heading back towards the harbour, and in this tide, you know, a brisk 5 or 6 minute swim, and I reckon I'll be in the harbour mouth. So I'm sure Richard wouldn't let us do that, because what he normally do is he'd grab our buff and give it 3 good pulls, or he would rev the engine 3 times. That's his way of saying come up. So we are probably not far away from the second large lump, and there's our normal predator we see. There's dogfish everywhere at the moment. They say a shark species is a good thing to see around your area. It means there's a good ecosystem, good hierarchy. I love the way these things swim. You don't tend to be able to swim behind them like this. Normally they bolt off really quickly, or they just don't swim at all. So slender. Anyway, it's enough following him. Let's carry on and see if we can find this other chunk of shipwreck. Quite happy with the amount of scallops around here. I'm doing pretty good for me. As you see, I've only got 4 minutes left until I go into deco. I don't really want to go into deco. This is we are doing one long dive though, so basically when I say that, we're not going to go back up and split our tanks in half. Weather isn't that good on the surface, and to be honest, the viz isn't that good under the water either. So we're going to use this tank up. But I've probably still only got about 6 or 7 minutes on the bottom here. We're fairly deep at 25, 26 metres. But I'm happy. I've got spidey senses and I can sense I'm getting very close to the shipwreck now. That and the fact I keep seeing little bits of metal here, there and everywhere. Some beasts like this one here. Follow the fish. If you want to get to a shipwreck, you just follow the fish and they'll take you. There we go, turn the lights off, you can see it a lot better now. Again, it's that far in the distance, it gives you a sense of mystery. I've actually seen this chunk before. Not many times, believe it or not. It's big enough to have a good look around, but not so big that you can find it fairly easy. Again, spider crabs everywhere. You can see the rotting plates. Again, ribs, old fishing gear trapped in it, bits of rope. A couple of odd bits and bobs, fishing wise. And I can see a claw. Have a look at this. As Danny would say, it's a lobbo wobbo. Right, I know what Richard's going to say. Why didn't he grab it? Well, it's only got one claw. And to be honest, I don't think I'll be able to get my hand in there without getting snipped. So I think that's going to be, again, another lobster, lucky day. I've only got 3 minutes left. And 120 bar. So I've got loads of air, unfortunately. So let's swim over the top of this wreck and have a little look, see if there's anything else we can see. There should be large wrasse on it somewhere. They can be quite scary, that, when big chunks of seaweed come and you just catch them out the corner of your eye. Yeah, there's a swim through there, but I don't fancy swimming through. 2 reasons. One, I don't want to get trapped up. There's our large wrasse. 1, I don't want to get trapped up on it, and 2, I've got a line back to the surface from my dive bag, so I'd have to leave it, swim through it, and then come back and try and find it. By then it might have drifted off, especially in this tide. Let's have a look around, see if there's anything we can spot. See if there's anything we can work out. So I think these round holes are probably portholes. There's a big old spider down there. Be surprised if there's no congers on this one. As you can see here, there's the old steel framed porthole still left on here. If they were brass, they would have gone a long time ago. It's actually quite a struggle to hold myself in the tide here now, so I'm trying to film as much as I can. I think I might have to turn my lights off to get the far away shots. Seems to be better with the lights off. Trying to keep myself in the tide with a bag and trying to get dragged away. Again, I haven't got a clue what these are. Probably the sides of the ship, given the portholes. Maybe up near the accommodation block somewhere. Might actually be, this might be the top of the deck with the sides coming down, and this is maybe a walkway which would have gone below the decks. I don't know. I'm just guessing. All I know really is it's part of the Beauport, and the viz is getting worse and worse. Oh, nice. Look at this little fish. I think that was a rock hook. A male rock hook in breeding collars. Only grow to about 6 inches, so that's probably the size of them. Oh, I think it's time we went back up now. We are running out of bottom time. Scallop assessment, not too bad for me. I'm going to say about 25, maybe 30. But the visibility today wasn't very good. To be honest, I don't know. Plenty of these sea gooseberries in the water at the moment. When my kids were picking them off the beach, asking me what they were. They basically are hydroid medusa. They don't sting you. They tend to lose their little legs when you catch them on the beach. And we're back on the surface. Matt's already up. And look at the boat rocking around.
Could be 24. Might need to put a sizer on them. How was that for you? There's somebody waving to us in the water over there.
Is it a stranger?
Yeah. Go on, get your leg over.
Yeah. I think the boff's in the way.
Oh. How did you manage that many?
Oh, that was good.
I enjoyed that a lot.
I was on the Beauport shipwreck the whole time.
Big piece as well.
Massive chunk.
Yeah.
Big lobo underneath.
Yeah.
One claw.
You would feel the time sort of.
Yeah. One claw.
Well, where is it?
I couldn't get him.
What do you mean couldn't get him?
I was too scared to put my hand in there.
Your hand is bigger than his claw.
He only had one claw as well.
Oh, well. Now Paul has done a complete circle and he's heading towards Chetto at the moment.
Yeah, the tide turned.
Grab him.
Yeah.
It's not a bit sloppy at all, but you know.
That's not too bad. He's done alright. I think he's going to scrape in second place, I reckon.
That's fucking shit.
Going round in a circle. I don't know why the boat's rolling around this much.
I like it.
Pictures, we should from Lincoln to Crossroad, please.
Well, it looks like the wind's beating us again. Still stuck in northeasterly. I can't believe it. It's been best part of 3.5 weeks now, and it's, for Guernsey, it's not that good, especially for the east coast. It's meant to clear the water, but as you've seen then with the big tides, I think it's kicked up loads of sand. You'll see that from the footage. So I've had to come back in. You can see the windsock now is flat out. It's probably force 5. We were going to do a shipwreck today, which is probably where the yacht is, but the clipper was cancelled. Well, it wasn't cancelled, but it was delayed, so we didn't manage to get on it. But anyway, I thought I'd film that one and make a video anyway, because I can't just take you on all the good ones. We got to be a little bit truthful. You do get some bad ones, or you do get some bad viz, to be honest. So I hope you enjoyed it anyway, and what we'll do is we'll see you on the next one, yeah? So catch you on the next tide.